Imagine you're a U.S. Navy vessel anchored off the coast of Hawaii in 1976, and something down in the water grabs hold of your anchor and won't let go. You haul it up expecting a rock or maybe a tangled net. Instead, you're staring at a shark almost 15 feet long, with a head so wide and a mouth so massive that nobody on board has any idea what they're even looking at, because nobody did. This wasn't some rare sighting of a known animal. This was a species completely new to science. Not a subspecies, not a variant, an entirely new genus of shark that had been swimming around in the world's oceans for millions of years without a single human ever documenting it. And we're not talking about some tiny, easily overlooked creature here. This shark can weigh over 2,600 pounds and stretch past 16 feet. That's longer than a great white. So how exactly does something this massive avoid detection for the entirety of recorded human history? And once we did find it, why does a shark with a mouth this enormous turn out to barely be dangerous at all? To understand how the megamouth shark stayed hidden for so long, you first have to understand where it actually lives. This isn't a coastal species cruising around where fishermen or divers would regularly run into it. Megamouth sharks live primarily in the mesopelagic zone, the twilight zone of the ocean, generally between 500 and 1,000 meters down. At that depth, sunlight barely reaches, temperatures drop, and pressure builds fast. Very few human activities ever intersect with this zone. Commercial fishing rarely drags nets that deep. Submersibles capable of reaching that depth have historically been rare and expensive, and megamouths themselves seem to avoid busy coastal shipping routes. Basically, the exact zone this shark calls home is one of the least observed environments on the planet, but depth alone doesn't fully explain it. Plenty of other deep-sea animals have still been caught accidentally in fishing nets or washed ashore over the centuries. So why did it take until 1976 for a megamouth to finally turn up? The answer partly comes down to sheer population size. Even now, decades after that first discovery, fewer than 100 confirmed sightings of megamouth sharks have ever been recorded worldwide. Compare that to great white sharks, which have been documented thousands upon thousands of times. Megamouths appear to exist at genuinely low densities, spread out across enormous stretches of open ocean, diving deep during the day and only rising closer to the surface at night. This is called diel vertical migration, and it means the shark's schedule is almost perfectly designed to avoid humans. When we're most active during daylight hours, the megamouth is hundreds of meters below us. When it finally comes up toward the surface, it's usually the middle of the night, far from shore, in open water, nobody's watching. So when that Navy vessel accidentally snagged one on its anchor near Oahu, it wasn't just an unusual catch. It was one of the only reasons a healthy adult megamouth had ever come into direct contact with anything human-made. Marine biologists had to build an entirely new taxonomic family just to classify it, Megachasmidae, meaning literally giant mouth. And that name is not an exaggeration. The mouth on this shark can stretch over 4 feet wide, lined with rows of small hooked teeth. When you first see photos of it, the instinct is pure fear. This looks like exactly the kind of animal that could tear a person apart without much effort. But here's a twist. Despite having one of the largest mouths of any shark species on Earth, the megamouth shark is completely harmless to humans. It's a filter feeder, just like whale sharks and basking sharks. Instead of hunting fish or seals, it swims through the water with its enormous mouth open, straining out plankton, small crustaceans, and jellyfish using specialized gill rakers. So why evolve a mouth this massive if you're only eating some of the smallest organisms in the entire ocean? The answer comes down to a simple numbers game. Plankton and krill are tiny, but they exist in staggering quantities, especially at the depths where megamouths hunt. Rather than chasing down large, fast prey that requires speed and aggression, the megamouth's strategy is to open wide and let the food come to it, filtering massive volumes of water to collect enough of these tiny organisms to sustain a body that size. But there's still one more mystery here. If it's feeding on plankton scattered through open water, how does it actually find enough of it to survive? This is where things get genuinely strange. Scientists believe the inside of the megamouth's mouth may actually be capable of producing light. Photophores, light-producing cells similar to those found in deep-sea anglerfish, may line the interior of its mouth, potentially acting as a lure that attracts plankton and small creatures directly into its open jaws. Essentially, this shark may have evolved to turn its own mouth into bait. It doesn't need to chase anything down. It just needs to sit there glowing in the dark, and the food swims in on its own. Combine that passive hunting strategy with its habit of staying deep during the day and only rising at night, and you start to understand why an animal this large could exist undetected for so long. It's not hiding out of intention. It's just built to live in a way that almost never overlaps with human activity. Even now, decades after its discovery, the megamouth shark remains one of the least understood large animals in the ocean. We don't have solid population estimates. We don't fully understand its migration patterns or breeding behavior. Most of what we know comes from a small handful of specimens, some caught accidentally in fishing gear, a few that washed ashore, and a handful of rare underwater sightings and tag data. Every time a new megamouth is found, it's still treated as a significant event in the marine biology community because there's still so much basic information missing. And that's honestly the most unsettling part of this whole story. This isn't some tiny, easily overlooked creature. This is a 16-foot, half-ton shark, and it managed to stay a complete secret from humanity until 1976. If something this large could remain hidden for that long, it raises an obvious question. What else is still down there that we simply haven't stumbled onto yet? We've explored a tiny fraction of the deep ocean, and the megamouth shark is proof that entire species, some of them massive, can exist for millions of years directly beneath us without leaving so much as a rumor behind. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see another video about a giant of the deep that stayed hidden for even longer, check out the video on screen now.